And we will turn now to a topic Dr. Jen and Dr. Robot talk about so often here. Yes, intermittent fasting. Shed a little more light on it today. We've got Dr. Jen, of course, going to be answering some of the questions here, but also a New York Times bestselling author whose new book, Fast This Way, Burn Fat, Heal Inflammation, and Eat Like the High-Performing Human You Were Meant to Be. We got to find a way to shorten that. But it explores the different facets of fasting, its effects it can have on your body. Everybody, please welcome Mr. Dave Asprey. Sir, thank you so much for being here.
I am so excited, Dave, to see you. Full disclosure, I was on your podcast earlier this month. We had an awesome hour talking about all of these things and more. And just so you know, in honor of you coming here, I did my first 24-hour fast yesterday and felt great and did 2 workouts while I was fasting. So it can happen. It can be done. And I had tons of energy. Now, you're not a doctor like me, and you're not a nutritionist like me, as I just pointed out, but you have had a very unconventional approach to fasting. We're not recommending this, but you actually fasted in a cave for 4 days.
I was afraid of being hungry and acting like a jerk, so I figured a cave was the best place to do it. There's also ancient wisdom and new science that supports fasting, so I did it all in the cave and wrote a book about it.
But Dr. Ashton, let me bring you in here. Like we talk about, you're a nutritionist as well. Who can benefit? What are the benefits here? Who should do it? Or some people this is not for?
Okay, so who is it not for? It's not for pregnant women, it's not for teenagers, it's not for people with a history of eating disorders, and it's not in general for people with type 1 diabetes. However, there is a significant amount of very good peer-reviewed literature in the nutritional science and medical literature that supports cellular and metabolic benefits from whether you want to call it intermittent fasting, time-restricted eating, the kind of things that Amy and I talk about a lot, that Dave talks about a lot. And I think that it's an option for people. People get very worked up when they talk about it. You know, this is not a dictatorship. It's an option for people, and there is science to support its benefits. But like anything, there can be risks if taken to an extreme.
Right, and people do think it sounds extreme. It's not if if you're doing it correctly. And Dave, talk about what your experience has been like. Why do you intermittent fast? And you've been doing this for a long time, we should point out.
People have lost 1 million pounds on the Bulletproof diet over the last 10 years with intermittent fasting. I have lost 100 pounds and kept my weight off for all that time. It can be safe, but I don't do it for weight loss anymore. I do it for the energy because I feel better than I do when I have breakfast.
And how does it work for you? Explain for people who don't know. I do a 16-8 regimen, but explain what that is and what you recommend.
What that means is you don't eat for 16 hours, which sounds crazy, except all you have to do is have dinner a little bit earlier, wait 4 hours before bed, sleep 8 hours. You already skipped 12 hours, which is the very tiny beginning of an intermittent fast. You have a late breakfast, you just went 16 hours without food, and all you felt like you were doing was having a late breakfast or an early lunch. Most people can do that and still feel good. In fact, they feel better.
Do we find, I mean, both of you, Dr. Ashton and Dave as well, do we find that a lot of people do first start off because they are trying to lose the weight and then it becomes a lifestyle?
If you look at the data, it has been associated with an increase in longevity, a decrease in the incidence of many disease states, including cancer, and these effects are independent of weight loss. So when you look at it, find what works for you. You guys have heard me say before, for any diet to be effective, it needs to be safe, simple, and sustainable. And for those who, like you and like me, who find this works in their schedule, there are some real benefits.
Yeah, I don't do it for weight loss either.
Right.
I started it for an anti-cancer approach to my lifestyle. And I know you're shaking your head there, Dave, but how long have you been doing this? And do you ever see yourself saying, I can't do this anymore?
I have done it most mornings for more than 10 years. And the change in my energy levels long term is profound, but you feel better the first morning you do it, when you do it right, and you didn't have to spend time and money on breakfast. And then all of a sudden over time, your metabolism gets stronger, which reduces your risk of type 2 diabetes, which reduces your risk of pretty much everything bad that happens as we age. So you get a long-term return from feeling better now.
All right, good chat. Any recommendation, anybody, for those folks who say, I get hungry during the day?
Well, you have to eat the right food so that you don't get hungry. Like I would suggest a healthy fat will sustain you much longer than a lot of the carbs that people tend to eat. That's a very short fuel.
Dave, really, Robes was very, very excited to have you here, and she's been singing your praises, and you absolutely delivered. So you came as advertised, my man. So it's really good to see you, and congrats. Hope we can see you back here on the show later, all right?
Yes.
All right, and Dave's book, Fast This Way, is available everywhere books are sold. Well, hey.
Hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.